Today's video, I'm going to walk you through putting the red caliper covers here on my Juniper. What are you going to need to tackle this job? Well, you're going to need a jack and then some kind of tire iron, and that's it. The kit comes with everything else you need.
And that is everything that I've gotten from Test Studio over the years. It comes really well packaged, just the 4 covers, a little bag of hardware, then of course those stickers. Now I obviously got red, but they do come in 12 different colors. So in order to get the wheel to look like this, I have to pop off my little original wheel cover that came with my Tesla, and I use a little trim tool remover. These pop right off.
All right, now it does matter where you're going to jack this up. On all Teslas, there's a specific lift point, and why it's more important on electric vehicles than non-electric is because the whole bottom of this car is a battery pack. So if you lift up at the wrong spot, you could be damaging that battery pack, and obviously that's not great. So let's take a look underneath.
So as we peek underneath here, you're going to see a little plastic, and then this little metal thing with the round, that's where you're going to jack it up. Now, they do make a little puck that fits perfectly in there, but you don't need it for that. It'll jack up as long as you have your jack right on that spot.
Cool.
So as you'll see here, I kind of feel out with my hand to find that little lift point, just to make sure I'm right on it. Then I go ahead, just as it looks, and jack it up. And then it's just removing the wheel like anytime you've ever removed a wheel before in your life.
So the kit obviously has 2 different sizes. There's a larger one and a smaller one. The larger one here is going to go on the front wheel. And make sure if you're doing the front wheel caliper, you got the front wheel hardware. Okay, if you let it be, which I did for a minute, it gets a little bit confusing. So here are your top ones. And first of all, there's not really a difference. They look the exact same to me, but you are going to want the part with the little rubber there, which is like a fake air bleeder. That's going to go up to the top. So in this case, it's going to go on my car like this. Each of these covers comes with 2 little brackets that look like this. Here's one of each, and they're going to clip on it. When they're all said and done, it'll look on it like this. And you'll see there's just 4 little kind of clips. They're going to clip around the actual caliper and cover it. It all kind of makes sense. So that's what it looks like all put together, but you can't put it together like this first. You have to kind of put these clips on it while it's kind of in place. So I'm going to show you the right way, then I'm going to show you the way I did it that I actually found out might be a little bit easier. First, you're going to have this like larger, really lightweight aluminum bracket. You're going to have the little notch, the cutout here. The little hole is going to go over that hole. So it's going to go on, you're going to put that little screw right through there. So it's going to be a little C-clip just like that.
Then the screw is going to go through the hole in the aluminum into the cover.
And then again, we're not going to put these on first, but just so you see, the other one, the smaller one, is going to go to the outside because again, there's no groove here. This is going to go completely on the inside. If you notice here, there's no threads in this hole, so the screw is just going to go through this. And this part here, it's the opposite. The other side, this actually has the thread in it. So this is going to go on the inside like this, creating that, again, that little C. There's a little actual bleeder, and there's a little fake bleeder, so make sure your rubber is matching the rubber when you actually slide these on. And you'll see when you have the right one in place, it just kind of fits right on and actually kind of really firmly sits where it doesn't really bounce around. Here's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to take the smaller little L bracket here with the nut facing out like this and slide it back into place. And while I'm holding this with one hand, slide this in here, hold it, and then with my third hand, kind of put the little screw through the back of this into this. And it does actually work. I did just make it happen, but it's pretty difficult. It's gonna fit really tight into here, both ways. And it does fit, it's just kind of tight. Now I have to hold it exactly right here and then get that screw, put it through here, and just hope and pray this lines up right. And I'm gonna bring it down in here to see.
I'm supposed to be able to line this up perfect, be able to stick the screw in through this hole, but you see, this one doesn't really line up all that well.
So I'm gonna show you the wrong way to do it, which is how I do it, but it kind of works.
So I put on 2 of the brackets first. The 2 smaller ones are gonna kind of go on the outside of this little cover first, and I get these really snug.
And then I'm gonna pull it as snug as I possibly can, and I'm gonna give it a little bit of pressure, kind of pushing towards the front of the vehicle, but also into the vehicle. And I found it's best to do, give it a little bit of pressure, then take the meat of my hand here, boom, we're on. That one real quick, swift push, and actually it could take you maybe 2 or 3, then it gets in there, then it does still bounce around. Now we're gonna put these little clips in the front, and these are a lot easier because they're all exposed.
So it's a matter of making sure you line up the hole in this little aluminum bracket with, of course, the hole in the actual caliper cover. Now, a little trick I'll give you is get it as tight as you possibly can with your fingers before trying to put the wrench on it, because this wrench, you're only going to get like quarter and at best case scenario, half turns. So the tighter you can get it, the better with your fingers before you have to snug it down with this little Allen wrench. And after I got those front brackets tight, went ahead and made sure the back ones were really snugged as well.
All right, now it's time to put the little Tesla decal on. Now these are actually 5 individual stickers, and both sides of this little clear is stick. So we're gonna pull off the back, which is gonna expose the whole thing of sticky. Then we're gonna push really hard on these little letters individually. Then this top layer is gonna come off.
So as explained, pulled off this whole back layer of sticky and tried my best to get this on straight. And then it's a matter of just pushing hard, especially where the black of the letters are. Then you pull this little top layer off and makes them look like they're all individuals. Then there's this little mirrored little triangular finish you can put on. And with it all set, there's what she looks like. Of course, without the wheel on, which that leads me to the next step. Let's get this wheel back on. Now I'm gonna put this on, let's kind of give it a little spin, see what it looks like. I'm getting these lug nuts somewhat tight, but I'm not putting a lot of muscle into it yet because the car is still jacked up. You don't want to put too much pressure on any one of these while the car is still in the air, but you want to get them all started so it doesn't sit on all cockeyed. And I'll go into this more in detail when we put on the back tire, but make sure you're putting these lug nuts on in a star pattern.
So now I could just pop the same little wheel cover I had right back on, but the problem is with putting this on, I wouldn't be able to see that caliper cover at all. So I'm going to compromise. So if you remember, a few weeks, maybe even a month or so ago back, I put a video of adding these little car covers on there. Actually, they'll actually cover and protect my rim as well, but they still have the gaps in between, so it's kind of like the best of both worlds. So now with those wheel covers on, I still have complete coverage all the way around my rim. In fact, I'm protecting it, but I can still see that little cover all the way through. All right, now to get this back one on, let's go ahead and get this rear wheel off.
Just as before, I literally feel my way out to make sure I'm jacking up exactly on that lift point. Again, not to damage that battery. Then it's a matter of just, with a little bit of pressure up on the car, removing all the lug nuts. Once I have them mostly off, then I jack it the rest of the way up and go ahead and slide the tire off.
Now we're gonna put the back one on. Again, I'm just putting this little rubber one up top, but I have found out if you put it the other way, they still work. These are actually gonna fit really snug. The flat part inside here is gonna fit perfect along the flat part of this caliper. It fits really tight, so it's kind of a no-brainer. So there's just 2 parts. Now, there's 4 of these little plastic parts. There's 2 with an L on them and 2 with a R on them. Now the L is for left, R is for right. It's gonna be as if you're driving the car. So here I'm on the passenger side, I'm gonna put L for the left one. Now, these are gonna go with the little number. What you can read is gonna go toward the caliper like this. And it's gonna fit really flush in here like so. The one I have is 4, is gonna be on top. It's gonna fit kind of like this. Now, if you'll notice here, there's a little bit of an arch in there. And the reason that's for is you're gonna get this loose, put it on here like so. And then when you get it on, this one here is gonna turn to the right. And when it turns to the right, it's gonna actually kind of hook in here behind this caliper.
And unfortunately, in my close-up, I maybe got too close, but I think you can still see a little bit how this is gonna rotate down and that part with the writing is gonna tuck behind this caliper. Then I went ahead and got both of these tight first, and I actually used the clip to be the screw.
I am gonna get smart with this one and rather wait, just like the last one I did, until I had it mounted to put the little sticker on there. I'm gonna put the sticker on now, and hopefully that might be easier to get it straighter.
And to no surprise, yeah, it's quite a bit easier when it's on the ground in front of you. But again, making sure you push really hard on the actual letters so they don't pull up when you pull this top off, and then put this little diagonal, little mirrored print also. Then it's a matter of just putting it into place and getting these 2 little clips tight. Then just kind of knock it around for testing purposes.
All right, 2 down. Let's get that wheel back on.
Okay, so again, putting this wheel back on, and I referenced this earlier, but make sure if you're ever putting lug nuts on, whether it's for this or any kind of flat tire, you're putting them on in a diagonal, kind of like a star-shaped pattern, as if you're drawing out like that kind of Star of David. You don't want to do them circular around, or you'll never sit quite right like you should. And then again, popping this cover on the rear also, and here's what she looks like.
And for what it's worth, these are made of like an aluminum, and they're supposedly heat resistant. So everything on them, including the clips and even the stickers that go on the front there, all those are supposed to be heat resistant. So by the time you see this video, I've already tested this for a few weeks, and I'll be able to give you a full synopsis, a full recap at the end of how well they hold up. Just a minute here, I'll give you the full recap after I've given it a couple weeks, but my initial thoughts right after jumping into this, having watched this video that you're watching right now, this should be a piece of cake. If you have any kind of remote handyman skill set, or if you've changed a tire before, it's honestly a piece of cake. The only tricky part was lining up those little screws and the holes here in the front bracket, and if you just kind of snap it around, which I showed you to earlier, these become a whole lot easier. So to do all 4 of my tires, it took me less than 25 minutes, and that counts the time I spent recording. So if you really were new to this, you weren't really handy, you weren't really sure how this all worked, I could easily see this taking you 20 minutes per wheel, maybe a little more. You could be talking hour, hour and a half, top. Now there is some kind of school of thought, and there's people trying to sell you on the fact that these kind of give you some kind of protection and they dissipate heat, and I don't really subscribe to any of that. I think this is purely a cosmetic thing. That being said, I do like the cosmetics of it. It does totally change the look of your car, and that little red caliper totally jumps out. A painted caliper is something you find really common on a high ticket price vehicle. Something for about 150 bucks, at least that much if you use my channel name to get that 20% off discount code. I'll leave that in the description below. But for that price, it's a really cool look you can do that makes a pretty big difference, and it's a whole lot easier than trying to wrap or paint your caliper. You just snap it on, click it into place, assuming it holds up, which we're about to find out if it does. So here's that recap. It's been about a week now since I've had the covers on my car, and no surprise to me, they've held up just fine. I'll give you a little zoom in here as I'm talking, where you can see both the ones with the black writing in the front and the white writing on the back are still in perfect condition. And that's no surprise to me because I put the same covers on my Cybertruck back there in the back about 6-7 months ago now, and those have held up really well. So you don't have to worry about any kind of deteriorating. As mentioned before, down in the description below, I'll put the link where you can buy this product, and I'll give you a little promo code, which is my channel name, Charisma, to get you 20% off at purchase. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.